Hello and welcome to About the Albums. This time we're talking about Geowmawey Alamahey. It's we'll pretend those are words, and just the things to say first here, I think, are just to say that this the album playlist, full playlist for it, should be in the description, as well as timestamps for each individual song and links to those individual songs, just to make things a little more convenient. If you want to check those out, that helps you at all. And a couple of fun facts so far. For those of you following along with the About the Album series, I've got an okay setup right now, I think, with position of camera, light, microphone thing. I think I've got it fixed for now. The cord shouldn't be hitting the thing that this is on. I just have a Mountain Dew box that's empty, and the computer's sitting on that down here because this is sitting on the light is sitting on top of the area I had this before. So it's been interesting, but it should work. Also, this shirt, the blue shirt, I'm colorblind, but I believe it's blue. This is on backwards so that this part stops falling down so much and looking less professional, even though it still looks all wrinkly, because whatever. So we're making really big strides for the quality of the show. Now, hopefully I remember to hit record on the camera and on Audacity for all of these, so I don't have any more weird mishaps there. But that's enough about the albums. You want to hear about the album itself, and really the album in general, like the thought process behind a lot of these songs, I guess, was just kind of going into a lot of them. I was thinking, like, it doesn't really matter so much what the words of the songs are, because words can be interpreted in a lot of different ways. A lot of times you can't even understand the words people are singing in songs anyways. So because of those things, I figure it's more important to have a song sound cool and like have a good like feel to it, and it's kind of trying to take away from some of the heavier messages of just all the lyrics and things, which I think is also probably a bit good after some of the other examples where lyrics are just weird and don't make sense or super preachy or something. So it's I guess we'll see how it goes, how I find it to hold up at this point, and how you find it to hold up at this point, or how you find it for the first time. Probably that, if anything. But let's get right in to the songs. We kick things off with Fuck Words, which is very indicative of, again, that mentality I was talking about in this, where it's kind of like the words aren't super important, and a lot of the lyrics you'll hear in this song are just kind of just things that rhyme. That's really all they are, along with singing fuck words, yeah, for the chorus. Also, the sound quality is weird because I don't remember exactly how I did it, but I believe all I did to make it sound this way was to take it into Windows Movie Maker. I think it was 6.0, one of the older ones, whatever, that had the 2 tracks on it. And I just put the video in twice. One says the video, and then one says the audio. So they both would have sound. And then it was just too loud. Then it would be clipping the shit out of it. And that's how I got the sound for that. And I guess for some reason I thought that was an okay thing to do, because I experimented with it for a few minutes and I was like, okay. And I left it. Just left it. So that's also, I think, it's a good one to start with, just in the sense of, like, not only does it set the tone for that idea of, like, fuck words that don't really matter, but also just like it's kind of like a happier song, and it's like a higher energy song. So it's a good way to jump into the album. Like, cool, we're starting something, we're getting into something here, and that's probably good for an opener. I didn't really think of that before until I was listening to it just now. It's like, oh, that kind of works in that sense. So that was kind of neat. Sister Hey, yeah. It's titled that way because that's really those are the only words you can understand in the song, and that's okay. Because I don't know how much of it was actually words, I just did it kind of on the spot. And those were the things that just came into my head, and a lot of gibberish, and a lot of it's hard to understand because of the effect on my voice, but it does give it some cool atmosphere, and I really like the way it makes my voice not suck. And with that and like the echo and like the effect, I don't know, it sounds pretty cool. I think it works for the kind of the power and energy of the song. And also, like, yeah, a lot of it is repeating the Sister Hey thing. Also, the yeah part kind of came in because then like the middle part with like the loud yeahs. But there's not a whole lot to say about it other than it came off sounding pretty cool, especially for a song that didn't really have an idea. They just kind of winged it for singing parts, and is somewhat simplistic for the music of it as well. But it moves and it does things, and then it ends, and it doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes as far as one of my songs go. And that's pretty good because I'm pretty bad.
But the greatest monster, the fiercest of all, was sealed down by enchanted ribbons soaked in the blood of Satan himself. Across its arms, its legs, its eyes, the beast is bound by crimson ties.
Crimson Ties is sadly a song that actually relies quite a bit on words, so it goes a bit against the album's, whole words don't mean anything idea. In fact, it's just 3 different things written out. It's supposed to be like 3 different people singing, essentially. It's about this demon that is just the fiercest demon in hell. That's so dangerous that even Satan himself had to create these bonds to keep him in place, or it in place, whatever, however you want to gender or not the demon. And it doesn't have a name. It's just this. It's just so powerful that the only reason it's being held back is that it has these really simple blood-soaked ribbons tying it to these stakes, and use the blood of Satan himself to keep the demon chained, and it's just sung from like 3 different like perspectives of, I guess, like one is kind of like talking about the legend of it, and one is singing about like more like the specifics of how it went down, and then the third one is the demon itself talking about how it will be freed. So it actually ends up being pretty creepy. The way the demon voice showed up, I guess the way I made it, it was just me talking, but then it was like I actually like, I don't know if I did it like just once or twice. I did the slowdown thing in the old Windows Movie Maker, and that's how I got the voice to sound that way. So the whole song is just kind of done in a way so I could just kind of put words in where they would fit, kind of. So that was interesting. And yeah, the demon voice sounds pretty scary. I think overall it has a pretty creepy vibe to the song. It still kind of creeps me out a bit listening to it, which is cool. And the only thing is that the one line when the demon first starts talking, I don't have this written down anywhere. I don't know whatever I had it written down on I didn't keep, I guess. So going back and trying to find out the lyrics, that was one where I wasn't quite sure what the lyrics were. And so I've had to do some guesswork there. And it doesn't work perfectly, but like, yeah, and that bothers me a lot because like I feel like I should be able to discern it or remember it, and I just kind of can't specifically, so I've just done the guesswork on it. So if you hear something different and it's like, that's definitely it, you can let me know in the comments, and I'll be like, oh, that is it, and I can fix the lyrics for it. But that's a fun tidbit about it. That's why usually you have stuff, documented better. You don't wait a lot of years, You don't wait 7 years to to start recording stuff about, I'm going to talk about the things I did on this, my thoughts process for this that I did 7 years ago. I don't know, but that's Crimson Ties, and it's pretty neat. I actually did also, which again, the album's not up anymore, but Space Station Central. On that album, I had something called Space Station Crimson, and that instrumental song was just like based on like the main like riff of this song. So that's kind of played off of that because I like the riff a lot. But that's not up anymore. So I mean, it's only vaguely interesting at this point, at best.
Get out my wood. Get out my wood. All of my hair. All of my hair.
Geowmawey Alamahey, the title track, is back to doing the whole words don't really matter. I only repeat those two words, words, and really they're just a bastardization of get out my way and all of my head, and I've just kind of changed them so that they would rhyme with one another and would flow into each other as words. And that was really it, and it's a very simple, repetitive kind of song with like simple pieces put together, and I guess there's not necessarily a whole lot to it, but the idea was there and the feeling was there. It's okay, and it's definitely the one I think of when I think of this album, largely because again it is the title track and it does the thing that I kind of envisioned doing with most of the songs here. My mentality was like, I'm not gonna put a whole lot of pressure on myself to make great, lyrics here or try to make good lyrics. It's just do what I can, make some fun music with it, and get an album out there. And that's mostly what I've done here. And that's I guess all you can ask for is that the title track is indicative of the album itself, right? Well, I guess you could ask for it to be good.
Complete control.
IQHQ once again jumps away from the whole words don't matter thing with having a lot of words in it that are trying to kind of tell a story here about basically just like the idea that it's some kind of group of people or something. There's some sort of communication going on within your brain with multiple different people, and it's like split off into departments and stuff, and it's like IQHQ, the intelligence headquarters, that kind of, you get the idea. The effect on the voice is pretty neat, for like the kind of just like talking thing. Kind of reminds me a bit of something like you might hear on like a Megadeth song or something, like a voice talking clip or something, and it's like the different audio on it. Well, it's kind of a simple idea. It was just like, yeah, we're there's people working up there, your brain's working fine, and then all of a sudden it's like there's problems, there's a malfunction, and all of a sudden the brain just shuts down and then you die. It's kind of just that. I don't even really know, like the ending I guess is supposed to be like everything kind of like your brain kind of like just like shutting down, everything kind of like draining out of your head. Weird effect there. It was just like the whatever build up symbols, like the, I don't know what you call that, rolling symbol thing, or like you usually do it leading up to like a symbol crash. I just like there's a tone on here for doing those, and so I just kept like hitting the keys up, getting higher and higher and higher up through the whole thing. And I think originally I just did that until it ended. And on the remaster, I did this and like I just had it fade out at the very end of it, so you didn't have to hear the very last one for some reason. I don't know. So not a lot really changed there, but it's a song I always kind of liked. That it's like, it's a little catchy. It's not one like you would like sing along to or anything, but like, I don't know, something about like the nature of it. I guess I really liked how it came off. And again, like with the effects and stuff on it, my voice didn't feel like it got in the way of the song, and that's always a plus for me because I'm pretty self-conscious about that, and I try really hard to work with my voice and what it can do. And we're seeing some good examples going on here, doing things. We're working with limitation, trying to hide the flaws in my voice, and as you can see, we're getting better with it. well, I'm getting better with it. I don't know if you're enjoying it anymore, I guess, at this point or not, but that was IQHQ. And now, here is the next song. Elongated Thought is a song where I kind of had the backing music there. I basically had the first chunk of the song of just kind of like that music going, and then like the second chunk of the song where it's like the drums and the bass really like kick in and it picks up, starts building a bit more. It was like just a framework. And has an interesting atmosphere of like, I guess it kind of made me think, oh yeah, it's kind of like, I didn't know how to really frame actual like verses and stuff, so I just kind of went in and I just winged it and improved all of the lyrics. And sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. I think it worked out pretty good here, especially for the kind of song I could sort of like repeat stuff and then kind of try to build on it and change the energy of it as I was doing it if I needed to. And I could take small pauses or whatever to like think of like what do I kind of want to sing next. Not great at hitting all the notes, and not greatest at hiding it with even the effect. I didn't hide it enough in some parts, I think. But, yeah, there's also a few interesting references I threw in there. Saying how, like, everything is so serious is kind of like somewhat of a reference of, like, the Batman, the Dark Knight kind of why so serious thing. I think it was kind of subconsciously related to that, and I probably didn't realize it until I started singing. It's like, oh, it is like from that, isn't it? I'm probably just thinking of that in my head still. And what else? There was a part I don't know how well you can really understand it. You might have to see the lyrics to see it there, but it was like, it sounds like a little bit like the like Zora's Domain from Ocarina of Time, because that's what it made me kind of think of when I was playing it. I was like, oh, it kind of sounds like that. Like, it actually reminds me for some reason of like the kind of the way the music sounds in Zora's Domain in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. So I just threw it in there as a lyric, kind of rushed it in there so it would be hard to understand, and I don't know, because I didn't want to like spend a whole lot of time throwing out that long name as a big reference to plop in there, so I just rushed through that goofily. And then at the end, I go, we are now taking questions, as sort of a reference to, I can't remember what song it was after. It was on the Talking Heads, their Stop Making Sense, that show or whatever. That's like, I remember watching like the DVD of that, that performance, and at the end of one of the songs on there, David Byrne is just like, does anyone have any questions? And then walks off, and so like this is weird, so it felt like it was a little reminiscent of that. I don't know, it wasn't like a direct thing of that, but yeah, it's had a few references in there anyways, I thought, and have interesting influences on my music, I suppose. I don't know, somehow that got us to whatever the hell this is. And the idea of like elongated thought, I didn't really care if it was long, because like, yeah, I'll just be talking, like, throwing stuff out there and thinking, stream of consciousness, singing stuff, and I think it turned out pretty good considering what I put into it versus what came out of it. So I'm happy about that. LHAOUHD. Sucks. It's again, the words I guess don't matter, so it fits that, but it's just me trying to be loud and saying loud multiple times, and the title's written out. to be an exaggerated way of saying loud. That's why there's LHAOUHD to add in as much emphasis in pronunciation into the word loud as possible. And I believe for the effect on it is there was an effect on the microphone is going through the amp or whatever. There's an effect, and I think I just had the microphone sitting like on the speaker of the keyboard. So and then I just sang into that so that you would hear both my voice and that with that effect. But also they were loud enough to also kind of hear them just being purely recorded at the same time. But obviously the camera was more closer. It was closer to the amplifier than that. I don't know. It was a bit of a blunder, but it is on the album still because I didn't feel like I could just take it off. I could have, realistically. Who's gonna call me out on it? No one. But for some reason that I decided has to stay for the sake of preservation of the original track list and not a lot of other instrumental albums that aren't up anymore. It's kind of weird where I draw the line, isn't it? Who knows? Maybe you're next.
I just want to live and feel as I once did when my life was real. I am of the living, and I am of the dead.
Of the Living, of the Dead is a song about someone who is undead, who has come back from the dead, but they're not really living again. The living dead, you could say. And they're just desperately trying to because at first they think it's great because like, wow, they're not dead, but then they start to realize they don't feel the same. It's different. Something is missing, and they keep doing these weird things, anything to try and reclaim their humanity, and they just can't seem to do it. And then they just wish either for eventually to get that humanity back, to be living again, or simply just to die again, because it's just horrible being in this limbo between. And it's kind of creepy. It's another song where, again, there's a lot of words to listen to for something that's, an album where I talk about how words don't matter. But also, another one where I'm talking instead of really singing. And then, like, the creepy, like, weird kind of echoey moan things I threw in there too. That's weird. Those are nice and creepy. I don't know. I guess I used to be okay at making scary sounding songs. Maybe I lost my touch, or I just need to try to do it again. I don't know. But it's a weird one. It's unnerving, and it's here on this album. What a great end / segue / fuck.
It is almost noon. The more time sun is setting soon. The more time finishing the day. The more time night is on its way. The more time.
The More Time is another song about time and it passing and how your life is just slipping away as time slips away. Mostly that. And then mixing is weird because it's like I had the music an effect on that, and so the bass sounds really nice on it, but some of the other instruments, parts of it sound kind of weird the way they went through the effects and through the amp and whatnot. And also maybe a bit loud compared to my voice in some parts. And my voice doesn't have an effect on it, so my voice sounds kind of not as good. And also trying to hit high notes that I can hit, but I'm not I'm pushing it on some of those, and I'm also bad at finding the note necessarily easily. I'm really bad at, if I can have some time to, start the note and kind of bend it into, where I need it to be, then it's a little okay. But if I need to hit that note more exactly, you can start to tell that it's hard for me to gauge that. But that's The More Time. There's not a whole lot more to it. But it is another song that has words that you should listen to understand the title. So, as long as I didn't call the whole album fuck words, so I guess it's okay. But, it seems like I was kind of half and half on if I'm gonna make the words mean something or not.
Just shoot me. I don't want to be human. Just shoot me. I don't want to be human. Just shoot me. I don't want to be human. Just shoot me. Just shoot me.
Don't Want to Be Human is basically about this robot that is just killing humans, that just despises them and is just designed to kill them, and then through some experiment gets fused with them. At least I think that was it, or I guess I don't remember the exact line of thought when I wrote it is the problem. Again, it was 7 years ago. But it was either that or they just like started to figure out like they weren't totally like a robot and parts of them were human or something. Like they kind of like somehow, or like they had the ability to learn or hate or something. And they kind of, the point is that there's something comes up that they kind of are becoming human and they're basically telling their other robots to just kill them because they don't, that's the only thing they don't want, is they don't want to be human. That's like the worst thing they could be. So it's an interesting kind of thought process there. Also, the singing thing is kind of interesting with one voice has an effect on it, the other does not, but they're singing the same thing. So that was kind of neat. It didn't line up perfectly, but it's pretty close. Weird song. It's a pretty short one too. Just it does what it needs to do, and has words you need to listen to again. And it's on the album. These are going great. Adding a lot of good details. Cry Away. Again, has lyrics, and they kind of meant something with whatever. But this one I actually originally made in MTV Music Generator. I had a song with it. I never saved it to the Generation album, but it was one I had for a while, and I really liked how it came out there. And then I kind of figured out how to play on my keyboard that song. Because for a lot of those songs, yeah, it was like, this is the way it's done. Like, they had things where like it would display like a keyboard on the side, so it was really helpful to see like the piano keys or whatever, so I could kind of like have an idea of what I needed to hit here. And so I added words to it here, and the effect on my voice made my voice really loud, and so like it kind of deafened some of the audio parts of the music, which was annoying because I didn't do them on separate at all as one track, so the camera's microphone was adjusting for that. Can't fix that, but yeah, it's okay. It's obviously it's a sad song, so I do those. I'm very comfortable doing sad songs. And the music itself sounds pretty nice, so I do like that the instruments and stuff and the way they're clean and don't have effects on them, they actually sound pretty good. So overall it came together pretty well. Even if it's not great, it is pretty well. Beachbound Melody is one that I've always liked the title of, because I guess it sounds, the title is just fitting to me. It's I think of that when I hear this. Oh yeah, like you're on a beach. The sun setting on a beach kind of thing. Kind of like the ending of Banjo-Kazooie or something. Which this song reminds me of that vaguely in my head. Also, it's just, obviously this is an excuse to use the steel drum thing a lot, because I like the tone, but it didn't really fit into a lot of things I tried to do. So I just focused heavily on that for this short little song. Little loop of things, and just adding some pieces to it. It was a kind of a nice way to just end the album, and hey, no words in it to be like, words don't matter, because, like, I guess it fits that by just not having words. So overall, it's not necessarily a big concept album of, like, who needs words? Words are meaningless kind of thing. But it was just kind of the idea for a good chunk of songs going into it. I wasn't pressuring myself into trying to make great concepts or great lyrics for a lot of them. And in general, the album has got some hits, it's got some misses, but I still think it's okay. Again, the description has a full playlist and each song timestamped, and probably a link to each song individually as well. And if you have any other questions you want to know, about this or just the music stuff in general or whatever, leave those comments and I'll try to answer those as best I can. And just thanks for showing up. It's always cool to be like, hey, people watch this. It wasn't just me recording this and then looking at it later to see how many views it has and it counting me as a view when there wasn't any views on it. There's also you. So, also it's a little sad that I say you, but I'm pointing at my camera where the big viewfinder or whatever preview thing shows me. So, I mean, it's I hope that's not the only person that watches. It's just that you that I'm actually pointing at. But the you, future you, that's watching on a screen. Because that's how you watch things on. That's what you watch things on. I'm good at speaking and outros, which is why it will be great if you can make it through the next about the albums. See you there. So the artwork for Geowmawey Alamahey consists of a few things here. The two background images are actually pictures I drew myself with Sharpies. I just had all these differently colored Sharpies, and I really liked using them to draw pictures. And so these were a couple of pictures I had that I made artwork with. The one is for actually I think I made those into instrumental songs before on my tapes. The one on the left, I believe I titled Curve of the Galaxy. And that's why I had kind of this curving, spiraling kind of background, planets. And then, like Planet of Fire, I don't know if I made that into one or not, instrumental or not. I had an idea for a song where the idea is just like, we'd end up with a world that's totally on fire. That's why it's like shows the Earth, but on fire. Now for these other parts here, we have the general picture of me I put in everything, and I also have the pig that I've been putting in everything, the recurring pieces of my album art. Then I have these squares I drew, or I guess I didn't draw them, I guess I did the little square tool for selecting the select tool in MS Paint, and then I just hit invert colors on those, and so I inverted them. And that's how I got those areas to look like that. And in this remastered cover, all I've really done is, again, trace over parts where there's a lot of extra white space and blurry lines, and I've just traced over it with the appropriate colors to try and make it look a little smoother and still looks a little goofy in parts and wobbly, but at least it looks like it's less artifacty and whatnot. So that's really all I changed. It's pretty much the same. You can take it or leave it. I mean, I guess you have to leave it because you can't take it. It's mine and it's staying in the video, so you'll just have to leave it in the video. The best you could do is copy it, and it's not really taking it, it's just copying it with a screenshot or something. So do your worst.
Don't make me